Yo, what up, what up, what up? Y'all know the deal, man. Like and share, like and share, like and share. So we get this thing out everywhere. There's anywhere in the world it could be, but it's already right here with me, the BABGOG. And of course, let's see, here we go. There we go. There we go. My man Big Aaron in the building, man. What's going on? All right, cool. So
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Okay, yeah, just getting the sound set up. Yeah, man, chilling, man. Shout out to the audience and everything. How you making out, man?
I can't complain, bro.
What's
Cannot
up,
complain.
Word. Yeah, so another Tinfoil Tuesday, a life full of technology. Love these conversations and especially having them with my man, Mr. Fantastic. What are we doing today?
We're talking about these cars, man, and how they rigging the game to where they are simultaneously stop making the parts for you to repair your own car, but then now they're going to charge you to repair your own car.
Mm-hmm.
So crony capitalism, at its finest, and pretty much taking advantage of, or I guess abusing, mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
So explain to the people basically how, as you said earlier, right? In the last one, I think we did.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is anything that's made. There's nothing that's made to last forever. There's no perpetual or perfect machine. So eventually, at some point in time, after a machine runs as good as it can, as efficient as it can be, there's going to be breakdown, and then of course, necessary repair and replacement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, yeah, I was just reiterating. You just said it. Everything has a shelf life, and then things that are in constant motion, and connected to one another, they're going to wear. What they call it, wear and tear.
Yeah, man. And the craziest part, right, especially from a military standpoint, is that they build the shit to break because that's another big thing I don't think people know is that dealerships get most of their money from repairs. They get there for service. They don't make money off of selling the cars. They make money off of servicing the cars they sell.
Correct. Yeah. So that's one thing. Back in the day, when a dealership sells a car, right, there are three prices that are considered. There's the MSRP, manufacturer's suggested retail price. Then there's the invoice. That's what the dealer paid for the car, right? And then there's a sticker. That's what the dealer wants for the car. The idea for the consumer is to get the sticker price as close to the invoice as possible. But that's why they don't tell you the invoice. You have to ask for that. The MSRP is what the factory would suggest based on market research you sell a car for. Between that relationship and having to pay your salesman commissions, it has become difficult for automakers to make money or for dealers to make money on vehicles anymore. A lot of the profit is tied up in the MSRP and invoice, right? The manufacturer wants to make money on the cars. They've simply been priced out of the ability for a dealer to make money, especially with inflation and things like that, right? We just don't make as much as we used to when compared to the purchase price of a car like it was in the 60s. So yes, now the idea is to make money on repairs. And a lot of times people don't really feel the impact of that because a lot of people lease vehicles and those who don't purchase warranties. So when you take a car for a repair, the fact that you're not paying out of pocket for it up front feels like you're not paying for it. But the warranty companies are responsible for cars, that are younger than 10 years old and have less than 100,000 miles. And then with leasing, you can either get a warranty or the warranty's went into the lease, right? So it's kind of like paying insurance, so to speak, paying for something that's going to happen in the future.
If it ever happens.
Right, exactly, right. And to ensure that it will happen, right? Because insurance, it depends on the quality of the driver and the driver's environment. But with repairs, you can engineer in a failure point to ensure the warranty company will be put on the hook to cover a repair, and the warranty companies, based on the repairs, they pass that cost on to the customer.
Here we go. Got it. Found it. Here we go. I found what I was looking for. So what is the worst mechanical flaw that you can remember car wise, like car you owned or car you had to work on? Mm-hmm. And what was that for you?
So you mean from like a standard commuter car or a niche car? Because I like sports cars, high end.
Well, commuter car. Yeah, okay, not
commuter car. Yeah, not Porsche. Yeah. Well, anything niche, like BMW, Porsche, or even like your Japanese car. 300Z and Supras, different. Mustangs, a different thing. But like commuter cars.
You know what? No, fuck it. If you got, so I'll say this, whatever it is, because I had this guy I was working with. He was still in the Navy at the time, and he literally made the fix for, it was a solenoid on the M5. I want to say BMW M5. It was a notorious fucking solenoid issue, but being that he was an electrician, right? Got the schematic, you know what I'm saying? Read everything out, so on and so forth. He created a fucking jumper to eliminate the solenoid issue and put the shit on the fucking forum. I don't know if he ever got it patented and he got, whatever, but literally I know a guy that wanted to, because a lot of these vehicles, especially like you said, and that's the worst part, man. It's so hard to get what you call the recalls. It's so hard to get these motherfuckers to admit the recalls. And when you're talking about foreign vehicles, $100,000 ticket price, bro, you know what I'm saying? That's just to even put the motherfucker in the dealership $250 or better. You know what I'm saying? Just for them to look at it. So
you would you happen to know if that particular solenoid or that issue had anything to do with the transmission?
Yep, that's what it was.
Okay. So BMWs for a while, especially when we were in, they had issues with the valve body, which is something that helps govern the transmission shift points. And the BMW M5s, when they had the V10, that's pretty much the height of where they had that issue. And that particular piece, is similar to like a solenoid. It's an actuator that commands something else to be able to shift gears. So that makes sense. So each car, I would say, has its own particular quirk. For example, BMW in that generation had that issue. But I think overall, the one thing that's going to go in most cars mechanically is going to be something to do with the intake valves as of right now. And that's because cars today are all direct injection.
And they got a fucking plastic. They got a plastic intake valve now versus the fucking metal.
There's a lot of plastic seals and stuff around that, right? But also, when you have port injection, the fuel injector sprays fuel above the valve. So when the valve opens, it lets fuel and air in. Direct injection puts the injector next to the spark plug. So when the intake valve opens, the only thing that comes in is air. Without fuel keeping that valve clean, when you have recirculation, which there's a hose that goes from your, anywhere in the engine where oil is, and it recirculates back into the intake of the engine so it can get burnt off. It's an emissions thing. That recirculated dirty air clogs up the intake valve with direct injection because there's no fuel spraying on that valve to keep it clean like there was with port injection. So a lot of times you're going to get a lot of carbon buildup on intake valves. That screws things up. Other than that, I would say a lot of electronics begin to fail first.
That's another thing.
Yeah, it's mostly electronic.
So my fucking absolute nightmare, and this is what had me actually learn to look at the JD Power repair things or whatever, and just different message boards before I buy a car.
Yeah,
the infamous North Star Cadillac engine.
Oh yeah.
When I tell you that car set me back, I don't know how much money, bro. No, how much fucking money. I refuse to buy a Cadillac to this day just because of that. But, being a dummy and not understanding that you have to, you know what I'm saying, before you make an investment, because it is a fucking investment in a car, because, it's not just buying it. Like you said, you got to worry about the repairs, upkeep, you know, what type of fuel it takes, you know, oil changes, all these different things or whatever. So, you know, but man, that North Star engine, bro, fucking terrible.
Was it the SLS or STS or
the DTS?
The big one. Yeah. What that
Terrible.
was is, well, Cadillac went front wheel drive, and then they started incorporating electronics into their drivetrain. That's what made the North Star engine. Back when they were rear drive, it was a simpler engine, you know what I mean, and you could get away with using a Chevy LS or something like that, or an LT. But having to make a big car front wheel drive using a V8, that North Star platform just wasn't working. It just, yeah.
Yeah, Doom from the fucking start, like you said. If you understand mechanics and you think about it, the last thing you want is a big ass boat that's fucking front wheel drive.
Yes. Yep.
Last thing you want.
Yeah.
Well, and then, like you said, it went from a flush mount or a vertical mount to a sideways mount, like you said, and that what messed everything up for the fucking transmission. And then that made things even more difficult. But what happened was they had they used the aluminum bolts for the heads, and of course over time, you know, as the fucking engine heats up, the aluminum bolts fucking separate from the damn, you know, the steel motherfucking block.
Yeah.
Now, you know, once that motherfucking head gasket is gone, bro, it's gone.
That's it. Yeah, that's yeah.
And they actually, like I said, and that's another one of those things, man. I feel like that should have been a class action suit, bro.
Yeah,
that should have been a fucking class action suit, because to make, you know, at that time, that was America's standard for luxury cars. You know, you know, that car, $100,000 car, $80,000-$90,000 car.
Yep.
And you know what I'm saying, by the time, if you lucky for it to make it to 100,000 miles, that was just a fucking travesty, bro.
Yeah. I never did understand. You're right. Now that I think about it, to have such a large car with that much weight being driven by a powerful V8 engine, in order to mount it transversely, the transmission has to be small. Longitudinally mounted gives you a nice long transmission tunnel to put a big B transmission when you make it real drive. Why would you put yourself in a situation where you have to use a small transmission to transmit a bunch of torque to move a bunch of weight? It ain't no Toyota Tercel.
Yeah, absolutely fucking crazy, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now this is another thing, right? And you mentioned the mechanics. I mean, excuse me, the electronics.
Yeah.
And while I was down in Orlando is one of the cities that's big on Waymos.
Right? On what?
Waymo.
Allegedly a disgruntled engineer. He didn't like his boss. He didn't like his coworkers. They didn't like him. So he just
he's doing something weird. You know, like the Kiriko guy, the fucking
yeah, he's an ex-CIA dude. Is that a Sean Ryan interview? It looks like.
I think he might be talking to Sean. No, I don't think. No, it's not Sean. It's not Sean's setup. I don't think it's Sean. It might be somebody else.
Somebody else, yeah.
Shout out to man Lil Rock in the building, man, for the 10. Appreciate you, bro. E1 and up, we refinance. Man, listen, bro. Man, listen.
Yeah, bro.
Ain't nothing but some money. Man, they actually had to make a law for that, I think. Because that, bro, those buy here, pay here's, bro, that was
22%. Yep.
22, 30 something. Yep. Like and little E1 Johnny had no idea. Hey man, we'll get you finance, bro. We'll get you right in the car. Yep. Motherfucking Camaros and motherfucking Camaros, Mustangs, and what was the Dodge joint? Chargers selling like fucking hotcakes.
Yeah, RTs, yep.
Yeah. Back in, what was it, 2017?
What are those?
There was a CIA computer engineer who named Joshua Schulte, who swears that he's innocent, but is now serving a sentence of 40 years for espionage. He was apparently, allegedly, a disgruntled engineer. He didn't like his boss. He didn't like his coworkers. They didn't like him. So he just downloaded the crown jewels of the Directorate of Science and Technology and sent it all to WikiLeaks in 2017. Google Vault 7 documents, Vault 7 revelations. It will knock your socks off. Thousands and thousands of pages. It makes what Chelsea Manning leaked look like, scrawl from a 6th grader. So he revealed that the CIA has developed technologies to, for example, remotely take over your car by hacking into the chip, right? Why would the CIA want to take over your car? To make you drive off a bridge? Maybe.
And that's been speculated in a bunch of things. I remember that way back. They were saying that with the Princess Diana thing. They were saying they believed that, Princess Diana's car was purposely, deliberately, controlled or hacked or whatever to get it to fucking get up to those speeds or whatnot, what have you. I'm trying to remember who else it was. Somebody else came out and said that it was either actor or a famous person. They were saying how the car just motherfucking took off, like out the blue. They weren't pressing the gas. No matter what they could do, they couldn't fucking, they couldn't get it to stop. They finally, turned the car off, of course. That was the only way they could get it to stop. But yeah, man, this is why Elon Musk is a real life fucking evil genius in my head. He will always be that. I don't trust anything, bro, that's self-driving. I don't trust anything that's fully electronic, because this hacking shit is no joke. Absolutely no fucking joke. Chill out, bruh. Shout out to my man Hakeem B. Shout out to you, young fella. Appreciate you, brother. I feel left out because I don't drive, but I'll support anyway, just because Big Aaron came through to give his vehicular gospel for the one time to the people. You don't drive. Where the hell you at? The fuck, you got to be upstate or some shit. You don't drive. That's crazy.
Maybe to make you drive into a tree and kill yourself, to make you drive into an abutment and make sure that there's no way you can survive because they've got the thing going 140 miles an hour and you can't control it. They develop technology to reverse your smart TV to make the speaker into a microphone with the TV still appearing to be off. So you don't know that it's broadcasting everything that's being said in your house to CIA headquarters. I mean, there's almost too much in Vault 7 to even go into. It's incredible. I'm going to give a talk about it at a hacker conference this coming weekend. So, couple what the CIA was trying to do in the 50s with MK Ultra and its subcomponents compared to what it is technologically able.
My bad, West Ham. Appreciate you, brother, for the 5. My old job makes the machines that lifts the ship containers. $700K a machine. The VA port has 120 of them. We made more money on selling the parts. Hell, I bet you did, because that motherfucker down. Hey, that stopped the whole fucking show. Ain't nothing but some money. That definitely stopped the whole show.
To do today, and it is terrifying.
Damn, dude. Yeah, that is gnarly.
What's your take on that, Aaron, as far as like, pretty much the electric car takeover? And like I said, so Waymo, you haven't seen a Waymo? They don't got Waymos up there where you at?
What's a Waymo?
So Waymo, it's a robo taxi. It's an automatic taxi, no driver.
No.
Yeah, they got this. So I know they're heavy in Atlanta. They're getting a lot of them down in Orlando. But yeah, man, that shit is scary to me.
What car did they use? I know they were using Jaguars out in California.
Jaguar. This is what it was. I saw a Jaguar. It was a Jaguar.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so the technology behind that is absolutely doable. Here's the thing. Cars today, everything is drive-by-wire. meaning, so even with the steering, for example, cars now have lane keep assist, which uses cameras and radar and stuff like that it looks at what I call the mustard and the mayo. It looks at the yellow line and the white line. And if you drift too far into either one without your turn signal on, it gives you feedback in the wheel, and it also begins to steer the car, corrects the course. You got to ask yourself, how is that possible? Because the power assist in the steering now is strictly electronic. It's either an electric motor that assists the steering, or it's an electric motor that completely takes control of the steering mechanism and responds to commands coming from the steering wheel. Like Teslas, for example, if you turn it off, you can spin the wheel like it's a video game. It just woo, right? When you turn the car on, then it starts sending signals to the steering mechanism. Back in the day, it was a bicycle. There was a steering wheel down to the control to where your tire.
You're working out a lot.
Left and right.
Your connection is bad for some reason.
Let me. How about now? That clear it up?
Say something.
Looking better?
Yeah.
Looking better?
Yeah, you got good.
All right. So back in the day, steering pretty much was a rod that went straight from your steering wheel down to the mechanism that actually moved the wheels. And it was assisted by a hydraulic pump, right? Drove off the engine. Power steering. All that did was just help give you some muscle to turn the wheel. If you ever try to turn a wheel with the engine off, it's very hard. Or if the car is still, it's very hard. Now that assist is done with an electric motor, and in many cases, there's no connection at all from the steering wheel to the wheels. The steering wheel is just like a little remote thing. And then whatever's connected to the wheels responds to that through the computer, especially in electric cars. That's all there is. So if you have that now governing your steering, hacking into that is easy. We know cars have radio frequencies all over the place. You have the GPS, you got satellite radio, and you got the button to open the door and close the door and things like that. Yep. BMWs, they have a remote where you can park the car and move it like in and out of spots. If there's a really tight spot, you can get out of the car, automatic park, right, and all that kind of thing. Same thing back in the day. Remember Lexus and all these cars? You pull up the spot,
exactly. Yep.
Hit the button and the wheel will start turning. You let go. If that technology is there, what makes you think you can't use one of the radio frequencies or GPS frequencies to hack into that program and take control of that car?
But Aaron, that's what I'm saying. People they're not seeing that. They're not thinking about that. And that's what that's why I tell everybody, fuck, I just had it and I lose it. But the movie for pretty much Revelation of the Method of Transhumanism and everything. Upgrade. There we go. Upgrade. Have you seen the movie Upgrade?
I haven't.
You gotta watch it, man. You gotta watch it. But anyway, that the whole car takeover thing is a major part of the film. I'll just say that, right?
Yeah.
Really good film. And it pretty much lays out how, like you said, everything that's electronic can be controlled. So people don't, because again, if you don't work in anything engineering, you don't work in mechanics, you don't work in aviation, or mechanics. So potentiometers, GPSs, like you said, hell, we talking Link 16 and shit like this. We talking radio transmission, stuff like this, right? So will you understand just how fucking sensitive that the potentiometer and then whatever camera and feedback, like you said, that you're reading has to bro. If you tap into that, you're cooked. It's nothing you can do, or you don't even got to tap into it, right? Because now all of the Teslas are on one hub. What's the Cyberdyne Systems? Let's just say, right, or whatever the Tesla hub may be, and you can just do one program as to where, okay, hey, or the other movie. What's the movie they had with Sandra Bullock and it was a movie on Netflix. It went help me out, chat. It was a movie on Netflix with Sandra Bullock, and then they had a black dude, and it was like a family, and the whole world was like going to shit, and all the Teslas was just bow, bow, bow. All the Teslas was fucking what's the name? Oh, shout out to we got a pro in the building, man.
Oh,
shout out to
yeah,
the
man.
in the building, man. For the 5. To be fair, Princess Diana's car would have been manually hacked. There's not hacking that happens. I have the Tesla exploit in my GitHub repo, by the way. Oh shit.
So yeah, Diana's car. Yeah, Diana's car. Yeah, it wouldn't have been hacked via.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, it wouldn't. He's right. Diana's car wouldn't have been hacked remotely, much in the way you can hack today's cars. But what could have happened if the throttle was an electronic throttle, which at that time those Mercedes probably had an electronic throttle. Then you could probably influence that. You could probably open the throttle and make that take that control away from the driver. But as far as the ability to steer the car, that would have to have been done mechanically.
Yeah, mechanically. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Leave the world behind. That's what it was. The movie Leave the World Behind. And literally, the world was fucking up and shutting down or whatever. But all the Teslas were they were taking control of, and they were fucking running in everything, just banging the whole fucking street. You feel me? So yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, that's one of the things I worry about. Once we start getting into the whole, every car is going to be eventually automated. You're going to have some type of input, whatnot, what have you. Some type of hub as to where it be Tesla, Ford, GM, whatever, so on and so forth. Because one of the biggest things they'll start doing, and I don't think people understand this. So they did it with of course, the Google, right? The Google cars that mapped out the whole country and whatnot, what have you, not just country, but the world, when they was doing the cameras and shit. So now you send the satellite to the data to the satellite. The satellite stores the data, and now it feeds back to everybody as to where you have a direction and work for all the roads, pretty much, whatever. You feel me? So now we're to the point of where the map is included in the car. You don't have to feed anymore, as far as like Tesla anyway. But GM is going to do the same thing, because back in the day, I don't think people remember this. Remember this too, Aaron. You had disc, and you had either like you either had what's the name disc, like CD disc, or you had the small fucking when we started doing the micro disc or whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, every
the map exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So now you go from hardware, hard media, to the satellite shit that's feeding it to off the hub, and your car just automatically goes wherever you want it to go. That's me, man. Again, and humans' fatal flaw and worst fucking thing is convenience. Convenience and ease, bro. Convenience and ease is gonna get us every fucking time, right? Because who the fuck wants to fucking wash clothes on a fucking washing board when you got a washing machine, right? Who the fuck wants to fucking build a fire when you just use a stove, right? But this is how they slowly lull you into the fucking bullshit, because hey, I don't want to drive. You know what I'm saying? If I can fucking sit my ass up and just read a book or eat a sandwich or do whatever the fuck, hell, go to sleep, even though they tell you not to, but people take your ass to sleep and drive all the way to fucking Miami, you know what I'm saying, a 5-hour drive or 10-hour drive. Who's not gonna do that? Not to mention now the fucking Cybertruck is a fucking tank, literally bulletproof and all this other shit, right? So even if you hit some shit, oh well.
Yeah, that's true, man. Convenience, if you think about it, fundamentally, convenience is the diminishing of responsibility, and ease is the diminishing of effort. What do you do when you give away responsibility or the requirement to put effort into something? You give away control. Effort plus responsibility equals control. You diminish them, you have to give it away.
Yeah, man. But that everybody wants it to be easier, man.
Yeah.
And we're slowly but surely fucking approaching it. Especially with this right here. So this is how you get it done, right? So if you make the cars obsolete and you make the cars unable to be repaired any longer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now you're forced to buy a new car because you don't get the parts for the car, and nobody's manufacturing the parts for the car, right? Well, we got to get another car.
You encouraging people to buy used cars that are a lot cheaper to fix. My question is, what happens in 10, 15 years when today's expensive cars are the used cars?
We're going to have a mess. I don't see a way around it. And the reason being is because we're seeing parts being phased out at a rate we've never seen before.
This is intentional, people. This is intentional. Okay. And more so it's going to be your cars that I would say 2000 and forward. You always going to have the old school cars because those, like I said, just strictly mechanics, and you don't need a lot of the electronics. You don't need a lot of those things. It's just, basic motherfucking, rods, bearings, engines, transmissions, just simple shit. Those are always going to be there. But even that, Aaron, you heard they're about to increase the ethanol by what, 5%?
Yeah. Yep. And that makes it difficult to drive older cars without future fitting injectors and hoses that won't get eaten up.
Yep.
I remember when I bought some of my first vehicles. My first was a 95 Dodge. My second was a 01 Dodge. I could get parts for those for years. And now I'm seeing cars that are 5 and 6 years old that we're waiting months to get parts because they're back ordered. We're getting more parts that have been discontinued on a 5 and 6 year old car because they only built that specific system for a very short period of time. They didn't sell a lot of those parts and they didn't keep a lot of those cars on the road. They saw no revenue potential in continuing to make these parts. Now you have to think about this. The average age of the American fleet right now, every single car in the US, the average age is 12.8 years old. It's getting older and older. And I can't help but think maybe some of these manufacturers are realizing this and saying, hey, if we got them into some new cars, maybe they didn't last as long, we could sell more cars. I'm not saying that's what they're doing, but it's kind of hard not to think that's what's happening. But I can tell you that right now, the sustainability of the modern automobile leaves a lot to be desired.
And I couldn't see it. I can say L&N. I don't know if that's a franchise or like a franchise repair shop or whatever. But he's owns a repair shop. So that's the thing to where you have to start looking into it and seeing the writing on the wall. Now this shit right here is beyond diabolical. When I heard this shit, I got mad.
Now GM, Cadillac, and Chevy say you're going to pay a monthly fee. They're going to phase out the ability for your Apple or Android phone to connect to your car, to see your navigation, to text people back, to listen to your Apple, Spotify music. No. You have to pay for their service, and then you can utilize all that stuff. Originally, they said it was only going to be on EVs. Now they've announced by 2028, every car that comes out will have only their software, and your phone will no longer have the ability to connect it because they will block it.
This shit right here is diabolical, man.
It's old. They've been doing that forever. GM, they pioneered OnStar.
Yep.
And that was a service you had to pay for, and it was only available on GM cars. But what it did was, even if you didn't have a car phone, you were in an emergency, you can press a button on your visor and get roadside help. You can you can talk to an emergency responder. You can sync the car to your garage door opener. You didn't need that little box that actually comes with the opener. But you had to have an OnStar subscription. This is going back into the 90s. They've been doing it forever. It's just that we kind of forgot about it because everybody else has something that can replace OnStar with all this GPS, where you can sync your smartphone to the car and all this. But they're just going back to doing the OnStar thing with the modern tech.
And making it mandatory pretty much. Where you can't sidestep it.
Yep.
There's no way of getting around it, because it looks like every manufacturer is going to go this route, and they expect you to pay this well after you've paid for the car that has the feature that they're blocking, so that they can monetize and have another stream of income. It's not enough to gouge and sell you an over expensive, not very well made car. On top of that, you will pay monthly for the rest of your life if you want to use navigation or play your music on their car.
Now, there is a way around it.
Yeah, somebody always.
If you own the car outright, you just go get an aftermarket entertainment system. They have entertainment system head units where it's GPS, everything involved. It's Bluetooth to your phone. Just get an aftermarket one. Pull all that out of the car. As long as that doesn't mess with the car's ECU, the ability to actually manage the vehicle itself, you just tear that out and put that in there. That's what I would do. Now, it's unfortunate you got to do that, but they can't stop you from doing that because car customizers won't allow you. If you can put custom speakers in the car, you got to be able to put a custom head unit in the car. Just to do that.
$94 if the brake pads wore out on your Ford F-150. You walked into the auto parts store, spent $30 on a set of pads, and changed them in your driveway with a socket wrench on a Saturday afternoon. Your father did it. His father did it. It was the most basic repair in the history of the automobile. Now compare that to what happened last year. A man bought a brand new truck, took it to the track like the manufacturer told him to, wore out his brake pads, and went to his garage to swap them. His truck told him no. The electronic parking brake would not retract without a proprietary diagnostic computer that costs $6,000. The alternative required $2,000 in hardware, a $60 a week software subscription, and a business license.
This shit right here, bro, should be illegal.
Yeah.
This has to violate some type of, because there actually are protections for you being able to do your own maintenance on certain things. I can't remember what context it was, but I know someone actually took that up to the Supreme Court because they weren't allowed to do something. And you have to have protections as a consumer, to be able to do your own maintenance and do your own repairs if you have the ability to do them.
I think one thing though, I think the automakers are catching a windfall. I think technology has gotten to a point where there has to be a level of expertise and niche materials to be able to make certain repairs, because that's how the car functions. For example, let's say back in the day, it was easy to change a spark plug. Now, because spark plugs can last over 100,000 miles, there's no longer, you don't tune a car up. Part of the tune-up isn't replace the spark plug and wires. There's an ignition coil and these long-lasting spark plugs. But if you go in there and start swapping these things out, you're going to have to go tell the computer that you did that, because the relationship now is extremely nuanced, right? Especially with a coil. When you get rid of the distributor cap, the engine still has to know how many cylinders there are and when to fire. Without a distributor cap that can govern that mechanically, a computer has to receive signals from some sensor and then give out commands that way. When you start replacing things, you got to update the computer on what you did, because it's going to give commands based on an old sensor or an old part. So some things have to be that way. But like the brakes that lock up electronically that you need a $6,000 laptop, that's ridiculous. I can see a timing belt. Yeah, you can't just use a timing light anymore because there's all this variable valve timing on both the intake and exhaust. So yeah, you're going to want to update your computer, because it doesn't operate on a specific set point. It's a window. It's based, it looks at the demand, the load, the ambient temperature, all these things, and it makes adjustments to keep it in operating efficiency. But beyond that, this is ridiculous that they do that.
Tried to register, the system blocked him. The message said, do-it-yourselfers are not permitted access. Think about that. You spent $65,000 on a pickup truck, and the manufacturer will not let you change your own brake pads. This is not a glitch. This is a business model. In this investigation, we are going to expose the software lock scam, the secure gateway conspiracy, and the subscription trap that has turned your truck into a machine you are renting from the manufacturer. The first crime starts under your dashboard. If you own a 2018 or newer Ram truck, there's a small electronic module hidden behind your dashboard called the Secure Gateway Module. You have probably never heard of it, but it is the reason your mechanic cannot fix your truck. For decades, every vehicle in America had a standardized diagnostic port under the steering wheel. You could buy a $40 code reader from the auto parts store, plug it in, and your truck would tell you exactly what was wrong. You could read the codes, clear the codes, run diagnostic tests, and fix the problem yourself. That port was your right as the owner of the vehicle. In 2018, Fiat Chrysler decided to install a digital firewall between that port and your truck's computers. They called it a security gateway module. They said it was to prevent hacking. But here is what it actually does. When you plug in an aftermarket scanner, the gateway blocks it. It will let you read a code, but it will not let you clear it. It will not let you run a test. It will not let you reset a sensor. It will not let you do anything that would allow you to actually fix the truck without going to the dealer.
Yeah, and that's, again, that to me, again, it just seems illegal. Seems. But I'm pretty sure what happened when you signed the contract to buy the vehicle, because, you know, people don't read it, you agree to terms in the purchase of the vehicle. And that's, I'm pretty sure that's the you know, the way that they're protected and they're able to do it.
Yeah, that would make sense. I would say that would make sense with leasing a vehicle, because it's the dealers or the car company's vehicle. But unless the bank requires you to do that when you finance, okay, that would make sense too, because it's not your vehicle. Once the vehicle's paid off, all that has to go away. You got to have autonomy over your vehicle. There has to be a law around that.
That's what I'm saying. I think what happens is people just don't want to fight, or, you know, it's just not enough money in fighting it. Yeah, I guess, because it's just class action suit like a motherfucker. Ain't no way you finna tell me, like you said, bro, this is my car and I have to now take it to the dealer. I can't do anything on my own. I can't do a private mechanic, or, you know what I'm saying, a personal mechanic. Hell no.
To your own vehicle, you have two choices. You can pay the manufacturer a $50 a year subscription and connect to their server over the internet every time you work on the truck. Or you can physically disassemble the dashboard, locate the module behind the radio panel, and install a bypass cable to reroute the wiring around the firewall. Either way, they have turned a 5-minute diagnostic into a 2-hour ordeal. And it is not just Chrysler. Ford and General Motors have confirmed they are implementing similar gateway systems. Subaru and Nissan already have. The entire industry is building a digital wall between you and the machine you paid for. The dealership, meanwhile, has no wall. Their tool connects instantly. They charge you $150 to $300 for a procedure that takes less than 5 minutes. And that is the point. The gateway is not protecting you from hackers. It is protecting the dealer's profit margin from your socket wrench. But the gateway module is just a lock on the door. The real crime is what happens when the computer itself dies. In 1990, the Ford F-150 had one engine computer. One. It managed fuel injection and ignition timing. Everything else on the truck was mechanical. The transmission shifted with hydraulic pressure. The windows rolled up with a crank. The brakes worked with a cable. If the engine computer failed, you ordered one from the parts store for a couple of $100, swapped it in an hour, and drove home. Today, a modern pickup truck has up to 150 separate electronic control units. There is a computer for the engine, for the transmission, for the brakes, for the airbags, for climate control, for the seats, for the headlights, and for the infotainment screen. These are not accessories. They are the nervous system of the vehicle. When one fails, the truck does not limp.
Oh my God. That shit. Computers linked to computers. Jesus Christ. That is a nightmare.
Yeah, it's definitely a maintenance nightmare. But if you unravel that or you try to undo that, then people are going to start losing a lot of luxuries and safety features that are woven into the cars now. You know what I mean? They won't have things like lane keep assist, you know what I mean? Which uses a lot of different sensors and information from other places in the car to be able to do that one thing. Or airbags that automatically disable if nobody's sitting in that seat. There's sensors and things, you know what I mean? They have to know when the car is moving and what speed for airbag to even deploy. You can't just hit a tree at 5 miles an hour and have a pillow fired at your face at 300 miles an hour. But there's sensors, right, that are connected to the airbag that are also looking at the engine, what it's doing, the wheel rotation speed, all these things to be able to make these decisions 1,000 times a second, you know, so it's catch-22.
Shuts down. A Chevy Silverado owner recently shared what happened when his powertrain control module flatlined during a routine trip to the grocery store. His $60,000 truck lost power steering and stalled in traffic. The repair estimate came back between $1,250 and $1,850. That included $150 to $200 just for the diagnostic scan, $500 to $800 for the module itself, and another $150 to $300 for the dealer to flash the module with vehicle identification number specific software, a step that cannot be performed without proprietary tools.
That's the finesse. So flashing the fucking ECM once you get it replaced, that shit right there is diabolical. But
yeah,
like
it's
you
a
said,
windfall.
you can only do that through the dealership.
It's a windfall. It's a process that has to happen. Unfortunately, because it has to happen, they can overcharge for it because the customer simply doesn't know what it is or what it requires.
And the problem is getting worse. Average repair bills have climbed roughly 20% year over year. The average repair visit now costs over $800. An engine replacement on an F-150 runs $9,000 to $13,000. Meanwhile, the average transaction price of a full-size pickup truck has hit almost $65,000. That is a 53% increase in the last 10 years. Truck prices have been climbing 40% faster than blue-collar wages. By 2023, for the first time in American history, the average pickup truck costs more than the average blue-collar worker earns in an entire year. You are paying more money for a machine that is more expensive to fix, harder to diagnose, and impossible to work on yourself. But even if every computer in your truck survives, there is a bigger crime being committed. Let us return to the brake pads. This is where the conspiracy becomes undeniable. For the entire history of the automobile, changing brake pads was a job any owner could handle. You jacked up the truck, removed the wheel, compressed the caliper piston, slid in new pads, and bolted every...
And they stopped it right there. It was a part 2.
Yeah, I think cars, because consumers want ease and convenience. Another thing that they want is, let's say, I don't want to say relevance, but like, what is it when you want to be up to date? Like with these cell phones, every year there's a new generation, and the last year's was obsolete. Everybody wants to continue, staying up to date. Well, cars is the same way, and I think that's why parts are now becoming less and less available, because cars are constantly being updated so much that there's very little carryover. Not like back in the day. Back in the 80s, remember you had a Mustang GT, 5-liter V8. You had the same basic block in other engines. The Lincoln Mark 7 had the same V8. The Town Car, the same V8. The F-150, the same V8, the basic block. Now, you would change the head, you would change the valve, things to make it, perform to fit.
Yeah.
But it was the same basic parts. Same thing with the transmission and the differential. And the Mustang GT from 82 was the same one in 92 when you got down to it. Only maybe 20, 30% of the parts changed. Now, a car changes generation every 3 years. 70% of the parts change. It's a new engine, or it's based on the design of the last one, but it's a new block now because the water jackets in the block are all different. So it's like you can't manufacture enough parts to keep up with repairs when the vehicle itself has become obsolete. When 70% of the vehicle is obsolete, why continue to make parts of the last one? But again, it's a windfall. It's what people want, people are getting, but it's allowing auto manufacturers to charge us out of the wazoo. Oh, that's what you want? Fine. All right, we're going to charge you $1 million for it, and you'll pay it because you asked for it. Same thing with the cell phones.
Yeah.
There's a new Galaxy 26S Ultra, whatever. It's a $1,400 phone. For what? I remember when phones were, you get them free. The good ones. You get a Motorola StarTAC, like $300-$400 or whatever, was free with the plan. Now you got to finance these phones like cars, man.
That's
and
crazy.
in 2 years, this is going to be obsolete. I'm going to have to get to 28. Cars are the same way.
What's the name was doing it to where they was making your shit? Apple. Remember they found out that Apple was deliberately making the phone slow after you kept it for so long. So yeah.
And that's the thing I'm glad you said Apple, because their operating system and their software is so proprietary. But they can get away with it because the features from iTunes and the ability to do things that are all in-house and esoteric, people pay for that. But the fact that it's so proprietary means that they can lock you out of everything. Now Google's catching up. You attach Google to anything and it attaches to everything. But back in the day, you could take the battery out of your phone. If the battery went bad, put a new one in. You didn't have to charge it. You just keep 3 or 4 batteries in your pocket. You could expand the memory using SD cards, micro SD cards, keep Keep a few of those in your wallet. Now, if you want to replace the battery that went bad, you got to get a new phone. If you want to expand the memory, you got to get a new phone. If it's running low on batteries, you got to sit down and charge it somewhere, pay for a charger. Why? Well, I can just switch the battery and keep moving. Not anymore. Cars are going the same way.
And that's the part, man. Y'all better get prepared, bro. I gotta understand, like, the shift that this thing is happening again is a way to have more control over the people in the public, right? And to this ties into 15-minute cities and things like that, because once I get you on the hub, right, be it Tesla, be it Ford, be it GM, so on and so forth, and you are literally being tracked, your every movement, your every place you want to be, and then I have control to where I can automatically take over the vehicle. Well, no, you're outside of the parameters where I need or want you to be, so your car stops right here. I'm not going to allow you to go past, you know what I'm saying, the border or the limitation of whatever that's already been preset for you to move to. And again, I people, you know, because conspiracy theory and all shit, and it's never gonna happen. Motherfucker, they done it. 2020 was a test run. Okay, so if you don't understand, and you don't think it can be done to you.
Here's proof, and I'm not advocating for irresponsibility, but here's proof. In the year 1975, if you missed a car payment, as long as you kept that car rolling in a garage or out of the way or away from any addresses associated with you, you'll keep that car forever. Then it got to a point where we can find wherever that car, you can bury it in the ground. We'll know where it is. We'll come dig it up. Now they can stop the car. You think you're going to drive forever and fill it with gas and keep going? Okay, give it a shot. We'll pull you right on over here. Thank you very much. And get that car back. With you in it.
Exactly. Or in the middle of the night at 2 a.m. when they know you're not in it. And they just drive it back to the dealership. They just drive it back to the you know, the lien holder, however you want to do it. But this is real shit, man. Like you said, I don't think people are aware of just how fast technology is taking over, and you were having so many different things come together. But you know, if you're not I guess, you know, aware of any of these things, right? Which I don't think most people are, right? Hey, why would you worry about it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it all just comes from convenience and safety. You know, the one safety feature, that lane keep assist thing, I have a real gripe with that. Not only does lane keep assist allow computers to take over the steering and throttle and braking in your car, if you can't keep a car that's moving in a straight line, if you need help with that, why do you have a driver's license? The first thing you need to learn how to do, if you're in a car and it ain't moving, you ain't got a driver's license. Very well. The car starts moving. The first skill you need to do is know how to keep it straight. Why you need help with that? Lane keep assist. I got to keep it between the mustard and the mayo. You know what that is?
The white lines,
the yellow and the white. Right. If you need help keeping that burger between the mustard and the mayo, you don't need no license. But they got lane keep assist in cars that you got to go through 4 or 5 steps in the menu just to disable, if it's disableable. A lot of times it isn't. You got to deal with this. I get a little close to this line because I'm apexing this turn to drive efficiently, and now the steering wheel's getting jerked out of my hands to keep it on. Come on. It's ridiculous.
Hey, man, it's here. It is indeed here. Let's see. That's what it was. Let me see. One more. So slow. And they that's another thing too, right? So a big thing they're talking about now is, here we go. Listen, man. That's why I say this dude's some fucking evil fucking real life supervillain, man.
Muskrat. Yep.
Welcome home. Glad you made it.
Thank you, Elon. I am ready to assist.
Great. Let's put the bags down over here.
Understood. Placing them here.
Perfect. So what can you do?
I can demonstrate household tasks.
Welcome home. Glad you made it.
That's fucking AI. I don't know if Tesla did that though. Let me see. Who? No, it's a fan account.
I'm sure he's working. I'm sure he's got something like that though, or is working on it. Or yeah, you bring that thing in my house, I'm liable to kick its ass. I don't. No, we gonna get some guns out. We get this thing. I don't even want this thing know where I live.
Hey man, it's happening, man. It's happening.
Please don't bring that to my house. You bring that, I'm shooting it and whoever came with it. No.
This shit is crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. Oh, okay. But yeah, man. Do you have anything else you wanted to cover? You wanted to touch on?
No, just to give people an understanding that a lot of this technology, especially safety-oriented technology or performance-oriented technology, and when I say performance, I don't mean the ability to just go faster, but the ability to be more efficient. A lot of that, 99% of it is derived in the arena of motorsports. It comes from auto racing. If you look at anti-lock brakes, it's a computer that senses the wheel locking up and it pulses the brake pedal, so you don't have to do the old school thing of pumping the brakes just to keep the car in a straight line as you're in emergency braking. Derived in the racetrack, power steering, racetrack, the turbocharger. All cars are turbocharged today because it allows you to get the same power out of a smaller engine using less gas. In the 70s, race cars had turbochargers. That was it. So a lot of this technology comes from racing. And a lot of it is beneficial. A lot of it keeps it safe, makes cars more efficient, user-friendly. But it's the convenience factor. And the convenience never comes from motorsports. Motorsports didn't derive no GPS. So just get used to using a map. You don't need your car telling you where to go, where to turn. People don't even know how to get to their local Home Depot without the GPS anymore. You've been living there for 10 years, right? So people, I think, need to just slow down on the convenience and ease factor. Efficiency, performance, and safety, there's nothing wrong with it. Technology that comes from motorsports, that's the technology that's to stay. Technology that comes from Best Buy or Walmart, that's the technology that has to go, because that's the technology they're going to use to control you.
Real shit. Like I said, man, all of anything that's a map or anything that's a automatic, I would be extremely wary of it, man.
Yep.
I just would. But like you said, I think if you're buying a new car, it's going to be, you can't separate it. So yeah, bro. I don't ever plan on doing the automatic drive thing, bro. I have rented a couple of Teslas to see or whatever, but they didn't have the feature available for the renter. But I think it's still like available, right? But it's disabled just for that reason. Mm-hmm. But liability and shit. But yeah, man, that's just scary to me. But like you said, I don't convenience, man. Escalators and elevators, right?
That's it.
Nobody wants to walk up to the fucking top of the Empire State, right? So hey, put me on the fucking elevator, man. But hey,
well, don't complain to me when somebody with nefarious intentions freezes your ass between floors. Your feet wouldn't let that happen.
Hey, listen. Shout out to my man, Construct Icon. Appreciate you, brother. Happens in many different services. Goes both ways. Shout out to Construct Icon again for another 2. Appreciate you, brother. We need to go backwards to go forward at this point. That's it. Hey, that's a great point. Society never devolves though, bro, or goes backwards. That's the sad part about it. That's another big thing I don't think people understand either. Shout out to my man Alpha J for the 5. Happy belated Memorial Day, fellow vets. Aaron, I believe that lane assist is probably for the inebriated folks. That's crazy.
Again, get the hell off the road. But he's right. Yeah, man. It's a shame.
Yeah, man. That motherfucking lane assist gonna tell her everything every time, bro. But hey, man, greatly appreciate you coming through, Aaron, as always, man. Appreciate you, bro.
Of course, man. This is always a pleasure, man. Take care. Shout out to the chat. Hit the like button, folks. Support the channel. Fantastic. I love you. Take care, bro. Catch you later, man.
Good job, man. Holla. Hey, man. Appreciate y'all pull up on me on 10-4 Tuesdays, bro. I will be back in the AM in the morning. Yeah, because like I said, I got a couple of weeks off, so we definitely go get into it with the content and shit. Shout out to my man's Thaddeus. I haven't forgot, brother. I got that, still got that coming for you. I'm gonna do that. I gotta look at the content and see what it is. But if there's anything you guys want me to talk about, bro, send it to me. Right, we'll definitely go over it and get into it. But anyway, man, Mr. Fantastic 824 on all social media platforms, man. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and hype the video. That's that on that one. Catch y'all on the next one. Holla. We out.